The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs.
Alan, good afternoon. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How are you doing today, Robert?
I am doing fantastic. And I said before we started that I'm impressed, Alan, that you are stepping up the fashion game for these interviews. And I am unusually casual because it's cold in my home office today. So thank you for being gracious enough to make me not dress up. I'm excited to get to talk to you, and I'm glad you are here, sir.
Glad to be here.
Alan Leichtle is the CFO and COO of the South Carolina Realtors. Is it South Carolina Realtors or South Carolina Realtors Association?
There's a couple different names we go by, but South Carolina Association of Realtors, but in short, we just say SC Realtors. So,
And Alan, do you get paid twice for being the CFO and the COO?
we're paid bi-monthly, so maybe.
And I think it looked like you also had a pretty significant amount of experience in the nonprofit kind of government or association through your career. I saw even all the way back to the kind of original CPA firm. Looked like you were doing some nonprofit stuff there. Is that true, sir?
That's true. And when I worked at Derrick Stubbs & Stiff, we had a full gambit of clients, and I guess lucky enough to be in a small firm, you get subjected to a lot of different types of companies, and so I was in for-profit, nonprofit, governmental, all over the board, and then plus lucky enough to also help out with the tax team during tax season.
And I think Alan got his undergraduate from Elon in accounting and an MBA in accounting from DeVry. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
Certified public accountant, very active in the community. It looks like you are on the board of an association. What's this? The Saludas Shoals Foundation. That sounded really interesting.
Saludas Shoals Foundation is a park that's near our home, and it's on the Saluda River. And they were founded in late 90s, and so they're not your typical park where they're funded solely by tax purposes. They have their tax. They're able to use about 40% of those funds for keeping the park open. Then the rest they have to fundraise or either have different events. So one of their biggest events we just went through was the Christmas lights. You get to drive through the Christmas lights, and we've had people from Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee that have come to the park. And the newest part of the park that we're very proud of is that we have a park that's subject for everyone to be able to go to. It doesn't matter if you have any kind of handicap whatsoever. There is activities for you to play and enjoy the park at the same time.
Well, that's awesome, Alan. Way to give back to your community. Let's get into this. Question number one. What is your favorite business book and why?
Okay, so favorite business book can go a couple different ways. Now, I have a bookshelf over here with many of different books, and my goal is always to take 2 points and try to implement. And then if I feel like there's more better than 2 points, then I'll always go back and try to reread and find some new ones. But for the new CFOs out there, this is a good one to look at. The CFO Financial Leadership Manual. It's basically your checkbox for things that you should be doing when you start a new job. And it's pretty good guidelines. And so I figured I'd present that for the younger folks. And then the older folks, and also those are over 40, I guess it's a good time to start reading this book. But it's a short guide for a long life. I can tie this in with business because if you want to have business, you have to have good health. So this is a quick, simple book. It's about 200 pages, if that. And each chapter is only about 2 to 3 pages. And it's a testament of more health studies than you can imagine, with over 1,000 different opinions, simplified into a simple summary with simplistic wording. There's no doctor jargon in there. It also gives you some good to-do lists at each decade of your life of things that you should be trying to do. So I've read it a few times. I implement as much as possible because I find that I do want to live longer than I thought I did when I was younger. So it's a good little guide and quick read, and I'd recommend everyone to get one.
Remember when 25 was ancient?
Well, and 25, you knew everything. That's the difference. It's now I have to grasp for all these different books because I know I don't know everything.
I remember a cousin hitting 25, and I thought they were just like the oldest person ever. And
Yes.
25, you just don't understand. And now I'm like up. I think I'm approaching 45. I don't even know how old I am. That's how old I am. It stops mattering. Alan, that was strong. Bringing twofers to the group. Question number 2. What's the best advice that you have ever received?
I have another prop for this. My dad was a CFO as well, so I have some artifacts, I guess, from his heyday. But one is his Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. So this travels with me. That's always been somewhat important to trust people, but at the same time, verify. And then the other key advice he's given to me that I've always welcomed in my career is, if you stop learning, you need to find a new job. I find that to be the only way you can stay engaged and loving what you're doing is if you're learning at the same time. So once you become too much of a master in a certain area, go elsewhere and try to master that area as well.
Speaking of mastery, question number 3. Alan, what's something new that you've picked up, maybe a new tool that you've recently started using or a habit that you've recently started that you have found beneficial?
All right, so I have 3 of those as well. I'm not good at narrowing down too much of my own. So first one, again, getting older in age, stretching first thing in the morning is key to a successful day. If you don't stretch, then you're going to be tight, uncomfortable, moving around too much. And so having a good 15, 20-minute stretch, then a workout even, is the way I like to start my day most of the times. Either workout or yoga after stretch, but stretch is still layered in there before yoga even. And then the second thing is something I'm sure that everyone's maybe have heard of, but Asana is a collaboration tool that now that we are in this new world of your office is anywhere you are. There is no such thing as a home office or a work office. Your office is your phone, and you can pretty much do almost anything through your phone. So Asana is a great tool for collaborations and project management, but at the same time, what I've learned is that anytime someone asks me to do anything, I create a task, put a date on it, and therefore it's always there, and then I can prioritize, push things around, move it. It's been an extremely successful tool for me because it does travel with me on my home computer, work computer, my cell phone. I get updates. And then even with the same thing, we've created forms for expense reimbursements, order requests. So just streamlining and making life simpler and more efficient, which is my goals in life. And then the last one is a new fun one from Eisenhower, which I believe we're going to find some really good, useful knowledge that's coming out of this COVID world in about 10 years. I think there's going to be some great books on how some countries have successfully managed this, and there should be a lot to learn from. So if you go back and look at any times there was major conflict in the world, there's going to be some good, powerful leadership books. So Eisenhower was a great one. So he created the Eisenhower Matrix. So it's a 4-quadrant to help you decide how to prioritize. And it goes from, to doing, to decide, to delegate, to delete. Now, deleting is just as important as the doing part, because the deleting may not be that it's going to go off your radar forever, but you're substituting to a more efficient manner. So just because you always had that 8 o'clock meeting on Wednesday, maybe that can be done through an email from now on and save you 30 minutes. So it's pretty good. And then he also came up with another great quote, which is, plans are worthless, but planning is everything. So I find his tool to be very great. And if you have the opportunity just to look it up, it's simple, easy to use, and kind of a no-brainer. And I'm sure everyone as a CFO is very busy. And I have 3 children, so prioritizing is definitely something that I have to do, especially with volunteering my time and working.
Alan, speaking of that work, what's the best part of your current job?
The best part is going to be freedom to be great and freedom to fail. The easiest way to put it is I can come up with some crazy ideas and run it through, and majority of the time I had that freedom to either be great and it was the best idea, or it was a fail. But I have that ability to do it and have a strong team and coworkers and membership that believes in me. So that helps.
What about something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council?
So I have 3 kids. That could be one of them. They're all the oldest one just turned 6, so we're at 5, 4, and a little under 2 years. So it's that's another, when I say you have to learn how to prioritize and just distinctly put out your time. There is a map for almost everything that we do.
Yeah, that's no joke. You got 3 kids that young. You're in like hand-to-hand combat.
Yes, and it's been interesting with the bumps in the road, especially with learning from home and or going to school for a little bit, then having to learn from home for 2 weeks, and constant change, which change is good. It defines us. So.
Question number 6. Last question. It happened so fast.
It is fast.
What is something that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you, and what is your answer to that?
All right. I'll give you 2. So one's a little bit social, the other one's more professional. So you can get my take on the Super Bowl, including commercials, and also halftime show. Or we can talk about the accounting software that I changed to at the beginning of 2020 that helped save my staff and myself a lot of headaches with virtual world.
Well, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, so I'm more interested in that. And I'm sure I'll watch like a YouTube video about the halftime show at some point. So, yes. Alan, give me your hot take. Give me your Super Bowl takes, please.
Okay, Super Bowl takes. Kansas City did not show up on offense or so much on defense either. Then they might have been intimidated by the old guard of Tom Brady, and he played a perfectionist game. And this shows what skill, practice, and effort will put forth for you. Some of the neat things that is behind the scenes is that every night at 11 p.m. he texts his fellow players, says, "We will win," every single day this week. So putting that mind front in there and planting it into his fellow teammates, had them prepared and ready for a great game, and they produced a great game. I was hoping for a closer game, but I'll take an outstanding performance by the world's best this year. And then halftime show. Not quite sure why the Weeknd spent $7 million to inflate his budget. So he used some of his own money for the halftime show. It was subpar, in my opinion. It's a little bit too much all over the place. Wasn't too centralized. I got lost in the maze that was there. But it was interesting, but not as great as I thought it should have been. And then the commercials this year were just down overall. I didn't laugh too much at them compared to last year. Some of them were a bit odd. Flat Michael McConaughey doesn't make sense to me. But I could keep on going for probably another hour. But I know that if I go that far, they're going to want to tune into sports instead of CFO World. So let's keep it with CFO World.
Well, I'm glad I didn't watch it now. And but the great takeaway from there, I think, is how important effort plus affirmation is. It
Yes.
doesn't matter that Tom Brady has a positive mental attitude if he has no effort. What matters is that the guy tracks everything that goes in his body, everything his body does, anything anybody does around his body. There is massive heaps of effort and then some affirmation. I think that's really important because some people put in the effort, but then they choke.
Yes.
And then some people have the affirmation, but they have no effort. So that's something to take. And Alan, well done. I am super impressed. I saw a theme here. I saw a goal-oriented, a learner. You bring in the twofers. And in spite of being somebody who's into streamlining, You brought 2 opportunities for every answer for the CFO Council. And I really appreciate this. This was awesome. Well done.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and thanks for the invite.
Have a great day.
You too.